Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session by Wisdom Mitra, which covers legal terms. Today, we would be talking about the usual legal terms and their meaning. And these kind of questions are usually asked in law entrance tests. Without further ado, let me take you through some of the definitions. What is vicarious liability? Vicarious liability is nothing but liability of one person for wrong committed by other. For example, an employer is responsible for wrongs committed by his employee during the course of employment or on duty. So this is called as vicarious liability. Second term, tort. What is tort? Tort is nothing but a civil wrong, whether intentional or on account of negligence. Both these categories come under tort. What is void contract? Any agreement which cannot be enforced by law, that is, an illegal agreement, is called as void contract. For example, an agreement to rob a bank. For example, if two persons get into a contract and say that we would be robbing a bank, then that contract cannot be enforced in court of law. What is voidable contract? Any agreement which can be enforced by law at option of one of the parties. For example, a minor getting into an agreement, but that person wants to revoke it after becoming adult. So, on account of these decisions, changes, if a contract is reversed, that's called as, or if a contract can be reversed, that such a contract is called as voidable contract. What is ex parte order? Order passed by a court while one of the parties is absent. That's called as ex parte order. Amicus curiae. This is also a common term that is used in legal parlance. It means friend of court. And what it actually means is that an impartial advisor to the court, someone who's not a party in the case but assisting the court. Say for example, there is a factory accident, and court wants to understand, what reaction happened over there. What was the chemicals mixing? Was it dangerous? Not dangerous? What provisions have been taken, etc. So suppose if courts summon someone who is not related to the case but who is an expert in the field, that person is called as amicus curiae. Mens rea. Mens rea means guilty mind. It refers to the criminal intent or mental state of a person when committing crime. So, any crime is considered to be a crime only when the person committing it has an intention of causing a harm. De minimis non curat lex. This means law doesn't bother about trifling matters. Next term, lis pendensis. A pending litigation is called as lis pendensis. Sine die, it means adjournment without resumption date. So, say for example, if I say monsoon session has been adjourned sine die, it means it is adjourned and it's not going to get started anytime soon. There's no date provided for it. Next is ratio decidendi, a basis of judicial decree. Basically, it means the legal framework behind the decision made in a particular case. This is that part of decision of the court that is considered to be a precedent, that's considered to be a base for any further cases that are happening in that situation or segment. Res judicata, a matter that has been adjudicated by competent court and therefore may not be pursued further by the same parties. So a matter decided is called as res judicata. Obiter dicta. Obiter dicta means non binding remarks or observations made by a judge in a judgment that are not essentially the part of the decision. So basically, if you remember here, we saw ratio decidendi. Uh, Obiter dicta is opposite of ratio decidendi. Ratio decidendi means that part that is considered to be the judgment, whereas these are like non binding remarks. Obiter dicta. Volenti non fit injura. It literally means to a willing person, no injury is done. That is, if someone has voluntarily consented for an act and that caused that person a harm, they cannot later sue for that harm. So, basically, suppose you go for skydiving, etc. People, who are there, who are organizing that activity, they'll make you sign a consent form. kind of indicating that you are voluntarily participating in this activity, which might have some potential dangers. And if something happens to you, the organizers are not responsible. LLB, it means legum baccalaris, decree, formal or final judgment, order, directive issued by the court. It need not be the final. It can be an intermediate, ask. Testator, a person writing a will. Consensus ad idem means meeting of minds, consensus, signifying that all the parties in a contract must have the shared understanding of the contract. Any contract that has been written, signed, and if someone says that I was thinking it means this, why, whereas the other person says no, it means this, then it's not considered to be meeting of minds, and that's not a formation of agreement. Pith and substance. This is a term which is used in legal principle, used in federal law systems especially, to determine the true nature and purpose of a law. So basically, say if a state government forms a law and it kind of impacts something which is related to that part of laws which are concerned about, say, central government. So which law should be applicable? That kind of understanding and decision is taken under this doctrine of pith and substance. Whether it's within legislature, yes or no. Court of records. So any court that fulfills these two things is considered to be court of records. In India, Supreme Court and High Courts are considered to be court of records. Judgments are recorded for posterity and are considered to be of evidentiary value. That is, it's considered to be an evidence. Second is it has power to punish for contempt of court. So if these two things are there, then a court is considered to be court of records. So any decision taken by High Court, it is considered to be of evidentiary value and it cannot be questioned by any lower court. Uh, Whereas for the sake of Supreme Court, it's like any decision taken by Supreme Court is not questioned in any other court in India. So these are some of the definitions which I feel are really important and are asked usually in the law entrance test. I hope you would like this. Thank you. And if you have any comments, questions, or inquiries about new batches, happy to respond. Thank you.